This was supposed to be episode 2 of Training Everywhere, but unfortunately, nothing went as planned. I came to Manila ready to stick to my endurance cycling training plan, but between the jet lag, the humidity, and the heat, my week turned into a struggle. I used to be obese, so I know setbacks happen, but the important thing is learning, adapting, and moving forward. So here is the real story of how my training really went in the Philippines. Hi everyone, my name is Mima. I used to be obese. I lost all the weight through a combination of GLP-1 medication, a whole foods diet, and weightlifting, and now I am training to be an endurance cyclist. I started training at the beginning of August, but during these last 2 weeks, I have been traveling a lot from New York City to Omaha, Nebraska, and to my home country of the Philippines with the full intention of actually keeping to my training plan during those 2 weeks. Here at home, my training plan consists of 4 weightlifting days and 2 cycling days. And while traveling, I intended to do 3 weightlifting days and 2 cycling days. I was able to successfully do that during my week in New York and Omaha, Nebraska. And I have a video of that week that you could already watch, which you could access through a link up here and down below in the description box. So right after my trips to New York and Omaha, I actually had to go to my home country of the Philippines for a family thing. So I already had a feeling that this is going to be a lot different than how my week in New York and Omaha turned out. I did have the same training plan as my other travel week, which was 3 days of weightlifting and 2 days of cycling, but of course to kind of adjust based on travel days, how I was feeling, etc. Now, I travel a lot internationally for work, so I kind of have my routine already set on how to keep well rested on long flights and how to not be so jet lagged when I arrived in my destination, and that includes having scheduled naps and scheduled sleep times while I'm on the plane, even though we know that it can be very, very uncomfortable to sleep on those tiny, tiny seats. But I was really actually very, very determined to be as well rested and not jet lagged as I could be to be able to keep to my training schedule in the Philippines. Monday was my travel day. My flight was scheduled to leave at around 12:30 in the afternoon. So I actually had time in the morning to do a weightlifting session, which was great. That was probably the easiest part of the week. I arrived in the Philippines Tuesday evening. So Tuesday was a non-workout day because I lost that day flying back to the Philippines. Wednesdays are usually my cycling days when I'm here at home, but because of the circumstance of me just having flown into the Philippines the night before, I decided that Wednesday was going to be a weightlifting day, and I was able to do that no problem. Wednesday was a full day for us, so schedule was packed. It was a very, very high stress day, I should say. Thankfully, we were in bed pretty early, so I was able to get still my 7 hours of sleep, although I would have wanted to sleep a little bit more just to kind of get a little bit more energy and recover a little bit more from the stress of the day. And I would also assume the accumulated stress from the travel. But this is where I think jet lag started to kick in, because by I think the minute that 7 hours, I slept for 7 hours, my body was awake. So that next day, Thursday, that was a cycling day that I had planned, and I was able to do that no problem. But that Thursday was a lot busier than the Wednesday. And this is where things start to fall apart. Maybe this is where I start to struggle a little bit. And I think why I struggled so much for the rest of my time in the Philippines was because that Thursday night I slept a lot later than what my body is used to and what I was sleeping the previous days, because I was waiting to check in on something here at home, which was just a non-negotiable for me. I needed to make sure things were okay here at home, and I didn't hear back until past midnight. Friday was our flight back to the US, but it wasn't until around 12:30 again. So I still had that time in the morning to be able to go to the gym and have another weightlifting session, which was what I had scheduled for that Friday. We had planned to leave our hotel at around 7 a.m. because traffic in Manila is horrible, so we didn't want to take the chance of getting stuck in traffic and then potentially missing our flight back to the US. So my original plan was to sleep early and wake up at around 5, but given that I had slept really late the night before, that was not at all going to happen. So I decided to call it and basically say, like, not today. It's not happening. I just have to accept the fact that it's not happening. We flew into New York City at around 9 p.m. on a Friday, so we actually gained some time. And the next day, Saturday, I actually had a short flight back home. But before that flight, I actually planned to do some cycling at a gym near the apartment where I was staying. Well, that never happened. I could not sleep when we arrived into New York. It was just really hard for me to go to bed. I had slept a fairly long time on the plane, much longer than what my napping strategy was going to be for that flight. So it was just a domino effect. My body was just like, whoop, no can do. It's not happening. So I wasn't able to cycle on Saturday. I was mulling it on the plane if I was going to do it in the afternoon at home. But when I got home, I was just completely exhausted. I just feel like, flying that Monday to the Philippines and flying back to the US that Friday is just a short period of time, and all of the activity that we had to do during that week, it just sort of compounded and domino effect got to the point on Saturday where I was just like, I am done. No more. No, thank you. So I also decided for Saturday, I was just going to call it. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. And what do you know? My body was really, really very tired because I slept for 12 hours Saturday night. I was that tired. But still, despite that schedule, despite that activity, I managed 3 out of my 5 planned trainings. And if this were a volleyball match, I would have already won the match. So I will take 3 out of 5 any day, considering the logistical and physical challenges that week had given. Despite missing 2 days, I'm still incredibly proud of myself. I think I handled that very well considering all of that stress. So my training in Manila did not go the way that I had planned it, but that's really part of this whole journey, right? And that's what makes this journey so interesting and exciting. It's just not every week is going to be perfect. And the real test is really how you adapt and how you move forward, considering that some days are going to be really bad days. Some days you're going to have to call it and say you can't do it. But the real test is really if you move forward and if you step up the next day and if you keep going, right? Like, that's really, to me, where the true test for my commitment and my actual endurance and discipline lies. For the next video, I think it's going to be pretty exciting, is I'm going to show you how I managed my nutrition and my eating while I was traveling and show you guys what I ate to keep my endurance cycling training plan alive, even when there were some weeks where the training was pretty tough and pretty challenging with the circumstances that were given me. You'll see the full breakdown of that in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for following along. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next on the Training Everywhere series. And let's keep this journey going, no matter how tough it gets. Happy riding.